Hi everyone, Lisa Gifford here, and welcome to session 2 of the Hurricane. We were just talking about hurricanes. Hummingbird. We're doing the Hummingbird panel border class, and today, like I said, is day 2. So if you have been following along with me, you should be where you've got your panel trimmed down, you have your first border on, and we've done all of our ribbon blocks. Who I have with me today, I have Miss Cindy Bemis, and she is going to be moderating. So be sure to say hello to Miss Cindy, and be sure to like, comment, and share this post so we can get a lot of people out there that can see this, because this is a great project. This is one of those projects that's easy to do, and you would be able to utilize this for a lot of your 24-inch by width of fabric panels. And if you're like me, you have a bunch of them. So today we're going to finish it up. We're going to be putting our next border on, and we're going to be I'm going to show you how to make the hourglass blocks, and then we're going to do a little bit of applique at the end. So here is the finished all quilted panel that we have been working on. It's a little bit different than the logo that you've been seeing. So this is the panel. This is all completely finished, and I'm going to pull out this black one too, because it also looks quite striking when you do it in a black background colorway. The exact same fabrics, just change the white to black, and it gives you another look. And on this one, you actually can see where the little butterflies have been appliqued, and it kind of makes it look like it's popping out of there. Isn't that just really cool? Just absolutely a beautiful, beautiful quilt. I think the purple might be a little bit different in shade. I think it's a little bit darker shade of purple that we have on this one. So I hope everybody is all caught up. If you haven't, if you're just watching, then just watch, learn, watch it a couple times, because this is always going to be here on this page, and it's never going to be taken down, so you'll be able to always refer back to it. I have gone in detail and made an actual pattern. However, I can't take full credit for this. I want to again thank Miss Carolyn Erie and her husband, because they're the ones that helped put this together and created this beautiful graphic in here, so it helps you with all of your fabric placements. But I'm trying to teach you this so that you could pretty much do this whole thing without even having the pattern in hand. I've been very diligent in letting you know all the different fabric requirements that you're going to need. Let me just go ahead and just start it over with that. You're going to need your panel, at least a 24 by width of fabric panel. The background fabric you need 1.25 yards of, and that's your white, or if you go with the black. To do your your quarter square triangles, or what I call the ribbon block, you need about 1/2 yard of 2 different colors. And then of course we got your background in there. And then to do your hourglass, you're going to need 1 yard of each of those fabrics. And then this whole thing, once it's finished, it's going to measure approximately 45 by 60 inches. So you'll need to plan accordingly for your backing, your batting, and putting your binding on here. So that is all of that. And if you didn't catch the first part, just be sure to go back and see where we were on how we got all the way through to putting the first border on and doing the ribbon block. And I was watching the replay yesterday, and I kept getting confused between ribbon and quarter square and hourglass, and sitting in front of the machine, called my machine a couple times my ironing station or something. I just kept getting it all wrong. So how many do we have with us so far today, Miss Cindy?
We've got 17 right now. 17.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today. And I was flipping through the air. A lot of these blocks hit the ground, so I'm just going to grab those. So what was your homework? So your homework yesterday at the end of the class was to get your purple and your teal fabrics out and make sure they're fully pressed. And I actually love using this little, I have a little quilt rack right here that I kind of drape everything on, keeps everything all nice and smooth for me. So I got my white, my purples, and my teal on there. And the other thing I asked you to do was to go ahead and prep your little piece that you had cut off the top of your panel so that you would be able to utilize this. So what I had done was I put some SF101, or it's a woven interfacing. I have that on behind each of the butterflies, and then I added some Heat and Bond light on here, so it will, when we cut these out, we'll rough cut the butterflies, and then we'll iron them on. We'll position them where we want them on our panel, and then we will iron them down, and then we will, stitch around them, and I'll show you how I did the little antennas on it to kind of make them pop a little bit. But we're going to do that at the very end. So what are the tools that we're going to need today? The tools that you're going to need, of course, your rotary cutter, but you're also going to need these two templates that came in the kit. These are half square triangles, the Martelli half square triangles. I have the 5 and I have the 6. You're going to need some rulers, and so I've got a 1.5 inch ruler sitting up here. I've got a 4 inch ruler. I've got a 3 inch ruler, so we'll be using these. And that's pretty much it. So the first thing that we need to do now is to go ahead and get our white fabric out, and we're going to put our next border on. So get your white fabric, have it ready to go. We're going to start trimming some of this down. I got my fabric all right here, all pressed, ready to go. And we are going to actually cut 3 strips that are 1.5 inches by width of fabric. So we need 3 of these. And then we're going to cut 2 strips that are 3 inches by width of fabric. The 1.5 inch strips are going to go on each side. You're going to take one of those strips, cut it in half, and sew that half onto one of the other strips, so it makes it longer. And then the other 2, the 3 inch strips, those are going to be on the top and bottom. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our strips cut one of them in half, sew those onto the other 2 pieces, press those, and then we're going to go ahead and sew them onto the sides. So you're just going to take your fabric. I'm going to do it from this side because I am right-handed. I got a little 1.5 inch strip ruler here. And here's a little trick. I'll put another ruler beside it. That way I don't have to flip it around. That way I can get my straight edge cut. Now I'll get that out of the way. And now we're going to cut 3 of these strips right here. There's 1. Two, and 1 more. So here's your 3 strips that are 1.5 inches. And then you're going to grab your 3 inch ruler and you're going to cut 2 strips that are 3 inches. And last one. All right. So I'm taking the 2 3 inch strips, I'm just going to set those aside. Now I'm going to take one of my 1.5 inch strips and I'm just going to cut it in half. And then I'm just going to take these 2 strips and I'm going to sew a half of a strip onto each of these other 2 strips. Then we're going to go ahead and press them, trim them up if we need to trim them up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and get them onto our panel piece. Now I am sewing on a Janome M7, and I have it set at the 1/4 inch setting. I'm going to go ahead and get my needle threaded real quick. I'm just going to go ahead. I have it set on the 1/4 inch setting that's on here, and that's very important to have an accurate 1/4 inch stitch. So that's one of the things you need to always be sure to have a good 1/4 inch. Know your 1/4 inch settings and what that looks like. And then my stitch length on this machine is 1.8. So I've got my 2 short strips and I've got my 2 longer strips. And I can't really tell right sides or wrong sides on this white fabric, but I'm just lining up 2 of the selvages on the end, and I'm just going to sew down anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Just sewing straight across, because we're going to just trim that off right there. And then we'll go to the iron and we will press that seam open. So here's the first one that's done, and then we're going to do that with the second one. Slippery little buggers just flew off the table. Now, while we're getting everything prepped, does anybody have any questions on yesterday? Did everybody go well with what you were doing? Is everybody following along okay?
No questions yet.
Just trim this little piece right here. All right, so we're going to go over to the ironing station. We're going to press these open. Here I got a couple of them all ready to go right here. So I'm just opening up this seam. It's your preference on how you want to do it. You could have it just fold over. I just like to press it open. Going to do that to both of your strips. And this is the panel that we've been working on. As you can see right here, I already have one side already sewn on. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to get the second side sewn on. And I don't really have any rhyme or reason to it. I just kind of little overlap on the end and just sew all the way down, and then I just trim it at the very bottom. You're going to sew your 1/4 inch. So when you sew your 1/4 inch, you're going to catch it right here at all these little spots right here. So you're not going to lose any points. As you can see right here, everything is just right on the money for what I needed to do. So we're going to do that to both sides, trim it, and then we'll get our top and bottom sewed on. Hope the weather is good where you are. It's actually a little bit nicer today. If you haven't heard about our retreat, we've been working on getting things ready for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now I'm sewing from the bottom up on this side. I'm just laying my fabric on here and just going to just sail down the side here. All right, let's go back to the ironing station and we'll get this pressed back. Now, because we are fighting all of those seams that's on the hourglass, or not the hourglass, but the ribbon block, I just take it and I just press it back. So it doesn't be, it will kind of be seen a little bit, but you're not going to be fighting all of those seams. So I'm just going to give it a press, just kind of rolling it back. It's under there, I've got my scissors under there. And if you see, well, you might be off just a little bit, I kind of let that just slide because nobody can see that from 10 miles or 10 feet away if they're on a horse doing 50 miles an hour. So it works really good, right?
Works great.
Nobody can see that. Not if you're driving by real fast. Okay. I'm going to trim this little bit off right here. So I got my little ruler, I'm just lining it against the side of my previous block. And we're going to knock this one off. And we're going to do that to the other side. Okay, so the next step is just getting our 3-inch border sewed onto the top and the bottom, and it should just fit pretty good because it's going to be a little bit big just like the other ones. So if I just take it and I lay it on here, you're going to see it's going to be longer than the panel itself. So however you lay it on here, all you're going to do is just sew it down, and then same thing, we'll press it back and then we'll trim it.
Graham T's on here.
What?
She said hugs.
Hi, Graham. How are you doing? You must be feeling better if you're watching.
That's right.
A lot of people praying for you.
One thing about Graham T, she's loved all over the world.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to grab both of them because once I sew one down, I will just flip it around and do the other side, and then it will be ready to go. Just continue with your 1/4 inch seam allowance. That way you'll catch all of these areas right here. It should look really nice. Again, I don't do any stretching or pulling. I literally just lay it, hold it in place with my fingers, and just let the machine pull it through. Take a look at it. Everything looks really good.
We have a question from Amy. She
Hey, Amy.
wants to know, does anyone know where this saying comes from, won't see it from a galloping horse? She said she's always wondered. I don't know that I've ever heard it, but that's, that's a question
It has to
we
be
have.
a quilter.
Don't you know?
Who's going to let these little oopsies slide?
I know,
Can't
right?
see it from a galloping horse. I
love
don't
it.
know if somebody knows the answer to that.
I don't know. I will put it out there. Everybody knows the
You can't see it
answer.
from a galloping horse from 10 feet away. You're good to go.
Well,
You've not heard that, Miss Cindy?
no, ma'am, but
Oh, now you have.
I have now, yes. My
goodness.
solution's just quilt it, and you'll never know there was a mistake, but
Very forgiving project. It's not going in no show. It's not going to be juried or anything like that.
I know, we might have to put this in the show.
I don't think so.
I'll give you the first place prize winner, okay?
Oh, I don't think I can put my stuff in shows. I'm not that good.
Oh.
I didn't do too many putting things in shows and fairs as I was a kid growing up, and that gave me so much anxiety. I don't think I ever want to do that again. Here's a little thread I don't like seeing. There you go. Okay, so we got both of these on. So we're going to go to the ironing station, press them back, and then trim them down. Now I know somebody was asking me yesterday about the iron, and of course it's the Oliso. It will do, you can use it for steaming, but I just don't like using my iron for steam. I'm always afraid it's going to shorten the life of the iron. So I just use it for the dry iron. I use these little spritzer sprays to get any moisture or steam that I might need to have. It just seems to work for me. But they do have a really good steam, so I've been told. I just don't use the steam setting. And Martelli has these. What I love about these is it's a burst, it's a mist. It's not a bunch of water droplets that are getting all over everything. So it's a great product to have in your sewing room. And I actually have water in one and homemade starch in the other, made with the potato vodka. Do not ask me the recipe because I don't know it. It was...
Probably find it on Pinterest, don't you
yeah,
think?
you can find it on Pinterest.
Or somewhere.
Sherry Meyer
Oh, yeah.
had made this. Getting it nice and flat. All right, so we're going to take this over to the cutting station, trim these 4 little pieces off, put it back on my wall, and then we're going to start on our making the hourglass blocks. And just like I did before, I'm just lining it up against an edge on the previous strip and just trimming that off. You know who else made that vodka spray? It was Sherry Meyer and Liz Littlejohn.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm sure there's a recipe out there somewhere for it.
Yeah. Just I can't look at the, anytime I see it, I think of Liz and Sherry. And Juliet, because Juliet was the one that told me about the recipe too. And one more. Now, I have been putting the measurements on as we go. Now I'm going to pull it up so that you can know it. This panel, at this point, before we put on the blocks, which after we put the second border, this panel should now measure 35.5 by 50.5, or approximately thereof. That's the target of what we're looking for, 35.5 by 50.5. So we're going to go ahead and put this back on the wall, kind of get it out of our way, because the next step's going to take a little time. Raise it up a little bit. All right, all smoothed out. Now we're going to start working on making these blocks. So let's go ahead and grab your purple and your blue fabrics. Get the white fabrics out of our way. This is the block that we're going to be making. This one right here. This block measures, well, it's going to be 5.5 by 5.5. Because once we use this template right here, they're going to be 2 5.5-inch blocks. We are going to be working with 19 pieces times 2, it'll be 38. So we have to have 38 blocks total. You will be doing 10 on each side and 9 top and bottom for a total of 38. Now these can be turned any way that you want. In the example, I actually have them where I'm just going back and forth like this, kind of. Well, I'm going to just kind of show you. I'm just putting them where I'm just alternating them like that. But you can, if you wanted, to have more of this diamond look, whether it's purple or whether it's blue. I did one where I actually had the hourglass on the sides, and then on the top and bottom, I turned it to have it look more like the diamond effect. So when you get them all done, you can just lay them out there and just kind of decide what look that you're wanting for it to be. So these are the blocks we're going for today. They're just a little bit of sewing, but everything from here on out is half square triangles. So what I'm going to need for you to do is go ahead and get your fabrics out. your purples and your blues, and you could go ahead and stack these up because we're going to be cutting each one the same. You should have them all ironed, ready to go, and you should have about a yard of each one. I've already used a little bit of this. Flip it out to my even side. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut these, square up our edge, and we're going to cut these in 7-inch strips or 7.5-inch strips. You need to have 4 purple and 4 teal. So if you cut these at 7 times 4, that is, I don't know, what is that, 30, 20, 28? I believe 7 times 4 is 28.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so 7 times 20. So you got 36 inches here to play with. So if you want to cut them at 7.5 or even at 8 times 4, which is 32, you should have a full yard. You're going to have plenty to be able to do this. Because the first half square triangle template is actually 6 7/8. So I just want to cut them just a little bit bigger so that they fit well onto here. So I'm going to teach you a little trick on what I do. So I'm going to cut these at 7 inches. First off, I'm going to go ahead and square up my edge here. I've got my fabric, my fold of the fabric lined up on a line here on the mat. And I'm just going to go ahead and knock off this little edge right here, give it square or get it even on the edges. And I'm going to do that same little trick. I put 2 rulers against each other. It's easier for me to trim that down. Now I'm going to do 7 inches. So I've just grabbed the Martelli 4 and the Martelli 3. So here's my 7 inches right here. And we need to get 4 strip sets done. So here's 1 strip set. And we're going to get another one. Like I said, if you wanted it to be a little bit bigger, you can move it over just a touch, make it a little bit bigger. Two, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to get 3 cut out of this one. Any questions out there?
No.
Everything good?
No, I think they're intensely watching you, girl.
All right, so I'm getting 3 because I've done some cutting with this fabric earlier today. So here's my strip sets, all cut and ready to go. I'm going to take 2 of them away, set them aside. Now I'm going to take my fabrics, my 2 pieces, whichever one is the lighter. I really can't tell the difference on these. So I open them up completely, spread it out on my mat, and then I'm going to take the other panel, or the other piece, and I'm going to lay them together, right sides together. Matching up my edges, right sides together. I got this little bit of a crease there. I'm not liking that. Okay, so I can't remember how many we were able to get. One, let's see. I know we're going to have right close to it out of each strip. I think we get 1, 2, 3. So we're going to get 6 out of each one. So 6 times, we only need 19. So that's why you have to cut 4 strip sets, because you're going to get 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You'll get 18. We need 19. So That's why we're cutting an extra strip set. But you can go ahead and make a couple extra ones. So the next thing I'm going to do, which I found it the easiest way to do this. We're just going to start cutting them and stacking them up so that when we have them all cut and all marked, then we're going to take them to the sewing machine, and then we're going to just start sewing all of our lines, and we'll sort of chain piece those as we go. So you're going to take your template, and I'm just going to set it down here on the edge, and I'm going to have fabric above and fabric below, and I have it past the selvages, so I'm not going to have the selvage involved at all. So I have it beyond the selvage. I'm going to take my rotary cutter. I'm going to go ahead and cut out my first one. Slide this down a little bit. You can go ahead and cut all the way around. You haven't marked it yet. Go ahead and cut your 4 sides. And with your marking tool, I'm actually using a pencil today. I'm just going to draw my line. And here. Don't lift it up until after you've got your lines drawn. Then once you have that done, you'll lift it up and you're going to just set it aside. I just put it in front of me because I'm just going to start stacking them. I'm going to stagger stack them on top of that one. Grab my template, get my next one. I can line it up right there on that edge. So I only have to cut 3 sides. Same thing, go ahead and trim it. Before I lift it up, go ahead and draw my line. I find it's easier if I start in the middle, kind of work out and work back. Once my line is drawn, pick it up, and then I'm going to stagger it like this. I'm going to keep doing this till I have all of them cut off of this piece. So I'm not going to worry about that little crease right here. I'm going to probably set the next one on the other side of that. So I'm looking to make sure I have fabric above and below, making sure everything is still all lined up. Now, is this one making sense to everybody? Little slivers out of the way. Take my marking pencil. Once my lines are drawn, and I set it down. So I'm going to move beyond this piece right here. Set it on here. Looking for a little bit of fabric above and below. And then still stagger. And you're going to continue doing this all the way down. Does that make sense to everybody? Everybody got that? So you're going to do that to all 4 strips. So that's 1 strip done. I'll go ahead and make 1 more. Whether you have purple or blue on top, I actually think I like the purple on top. It's a little bit easier to see. So take your fabrics again, 1 of your strip sets, and you're going to place them right sides together. And it works out so well that I can avoid that wrinkle that's in the center, just kind of skip over it to continue with all of the pieces down. I just keep staggering. Easy peasy, huh? What do y'all think so far? Easy peasy?
I think they're intense today.
How many do we have right now?
27.
27.
And they are like, I think they're working hard.
Oh, goodness. We're going to get the last 3 cut, and then we will go to the... Once I get these last 3 cut, then we will go ahead and take our first break for the day. So we will take about, we'll probably take ourselves about a 10-15 minute break after I get these last ones cut. And then you will meet me at the sewing machine where we're going to start sewing these together. And then we'll clip them apart, iron them down. Oops, look what I just did. I moved the template before I drew my lines, so that's always fun.
No, girl.
Match it all back up and hope you get it right.
Oh, my.
Mio mio.
Well.
What is that called? A flip-a-toi?
There you go.
Something like that.
Something bad.
Something like that.
Bad.
2 more. So I'll have 12. You need to have, like I said, 19 or 20. You know, give yourself some room to...
In case you didn't mark one, right, Lisa?
Yeah. Or you're not liking the looks of one of them or something. I mean, I don't know. It's whatever you want it to be.
Miss Peggy says she's late, but she's ready to learn. I said, you're not late. She can catch up.
Is that my Aunt Peggy from
Peggy
Ohio?
Anderson?
Peggy Anderson?
Mm-hmm.
My Aunt Peggy is Peggy Simmons.
Well, we have another Peggy with
Got
us.
another Peggy. Hi, Peggy. My daughter Cindy was on yesterday after we had talked about her.
Yes, she was.
She had a doctor's visit that she had to go to yesterday. All right.
I don't know about the rest of the people, but I don't know how anybody quilted before we had Martelli tools.
I know, right?
Honest to Pete.
I don't know when's the last
easy.
time I've picked up a regular ruler.
I tell everybody I'm allergic to the acrylic.
Okay, so I've got 12 of them here, but imagine them as 8, 19, or 20 of them. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. So now we're going to go ahead and start sewing on our lines to create our half square triangles in the 6.5 inch size. So you should have 19 of them all cut out and marked and ready to go. So all we're going to do is just feed these through. I'm going to go down one side, one after another, and then I'm just going to flip it all around and then sew the other ones. Then we'll clip them apart, go to the ironing station. Well, we'll go to the cutting station, cut them apart down the centers. Then we'll go iron them open, and then we'll go to start our next phase because it goes pretty quick after that. So I just have them laying right here beside me. I went ahead and set my needle in the center position, and I still have it at 1.8 stitch length. So I'm just going to grab one after another, and I'm just going to sew right down this line, and I'm just going to grab the next one, sew down that line, and just keep feeding them through. So you're going to kind of see them going off the edge of my machine here. And this procedure, you just sew right on the line. And that's why I kind of have them staggered. They're just kind of easier to pick up to get to the next one. I'll just grab them all, bring them down, and flip them around and just start sewing down the other side. All right, so how easy was that? What do you think, Cindy?
I was too easy. Quick, right?
Yep. So I'm just clipping them apart here.
Sewing like that chain piece is so quick and easy, I think.
This is a great chain piecing project.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to take these and we're going to cut them all apart. So I'm just lining up my ruler from corner to corner. I've got this little, I want to say it's a 12-inch ruler here, or it's a 10-inch. 10 or 12-inch would work really well. I'm just going from corner to corner. You can use your rotary cutter to cut all these through, or you could just freehand it. I'm stacking them all up so I have the same color on the top side. Of course, we're going to press them back, and we're going to press them in, you know, either to the blue or to the purple, whichever one you do, you're going to press them all the same, because we're going to need them to nest up at the next phase. Two more to go. All right, all of them are ready to go. So let's go to the iron station. We're going to press all these back, and I'm going to use my little seam press for this. I'm going to flip them onto the blue, because it seems like the blue is a little bit of a darker color to me. Set my seam and then just roll it back. And then set my seam press right on top of that. And you will have 38 of these, if you cut out 19, that you will be making. Still have 20 something watching, Cindy?
We have 20, no, we're up to 33.
got some people that joined us.
Yes, we did. I'm telling you, I think they're really intense on this. Concentrating.
Concentrating.
And
All right,
working.
I'm going to make them write something. Who all is sewing today? Who all is sewing and who all is watching? And I want, when you get done, I would love to see pictures of how's yours doing.
That made them all go silent. Verna is sewing.
Verna is sewing.
Oh,
Now, does everybody have the seam press? Because I think it's just an amazing tool.
It's kind of a mix. I think we have a lot of watching going on.
We're almost done with this pile.
Heather Sneller just joined us. She just got home. She said, Lisa, you're quiet and so focused.
How you doing, Heather?
Yeah.
Looking forward for your buddy to get that bag done. She's been working on forever. Miss Laura to come in? Flipped up a little bit. Start another pile.
Loop said she made hers during the retreat and has already given it away.
Yep.
Time to make another one.
Mm-hmm. And again, you can do it with a different fabric and still have that awesome wow factor to it. Like I said, my next project is to figure out how to do a double ribbon.
So you could use this outside pattern for any border if you cut the.
Yeah,
I mean a panel.
Any panel that's typically a 24. Most panels are the 24-inch panels.
Sure.
It's a 24 by width of fabric, and that's what this one is. You just got to trim it down, and then this border
And
will work for any
ribbon.
one of them.
Isn't that neat?
Mm-hmm. Math is already done. Just got to get it done.
Heather said she sent a sample to Val. Laura is homesick.
Oh no. All right, 2 more to press, and then we're going to start with the second phase to actually make the hourglass part.
Linda Lombardo said, Lisa, your work is always so precise and you make it seem so effortless. Love your clear way of explaining.
Thank you.
I'm telling y'all, she's great. Great teacher.
Okay. All right, so grab your stack and meet me back at the cutting table. All right, so we are done with this one, so we can just throw it away.
Oh, no, 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 no.
We are now going to do number 5. All right, so you've got your stack of half square triangles here. So now you're just going to grab 2 of them. And now we're going to take them, and that's why I wanted you to be sure to press them all the same way, because now you're going to take these 2 and you're going to put them down opposites of each other. So you're going to actually sort of feel your little seam nesting right here in the middle. Do you see that? How it's going to make that block that we're looking for? So you're laying these down on top of each other, where the colors now are opposite, and your seams, if you've pressed them all in the same direction, the same way, if you press them all in the same way, they should nest up. You should actually kind of feel them nesting right here. You're going to have your dog ears here on each end. You're going to be cutting those off in a few minutes. Now you're going to take your number 5 template. Once you have it all stacked up, and now you're going to take it and you're going to turn it so that the lines that you're going to be drawing is going to be crossing over the stitch that you had just done. So you're not going with the seam in the middle, you're turning it so it's going to be crossing over. And you should be looking like you have about 1/4 of an inch that you're going to be trimming off all the way around. The next thing that I do, just like when we were squaring up all of those 3.5 inch blocks yesterday, I am looking to put this point right here. So I've got these 2 points right here, these 2 corners of this block, of this 5-inch template. I'm setting this corner on that seam, and I'm setting this corner on this seam. That's what I'm looking to do, setting the seam there, setting the seam here. I'm not even really paying attention to what's in the middle. I'm looking for that point to be on that seam. Trying to get that to where you can see it here, and I want that point on this seam. They should be kind of nested right there, and you're going to feel that's nested in the center. That's the look we're trying to get. Can you see that? Here and here, here and here. You want that point on that seam. Once you have it there, just like we did before, you're going to take your marking tool and you're going to mark it. Just draw your line, just kind of drag your marking tool down. I think I'm going to grab the marker this time, a little bit darker. Just going to mark it. Mark it. And before I lift it up, I'm going to trim it all the way around. Yep.
We have a question.
Yes.
They want to know if there's any way to order the pattern without the kit. Can the pattern be purchased outside of the kit I found on your site?
Good question. I actually had somebody that wrote me today, emailed me to the Learn, and I forwarded that to Valerie.
Okay.
And I think we should be able to offer having either the pattern by itself or where you can get the pattern and the template set without having to buy the entire kit, which is the fabric and the panels, because you might have your own fabric and panels that you want to do. And this pattern really works well with the template set if you don't have the templates. So I sent Valerie, we can either do the pattern by itself or we can have it where you got the pattern and be able to buy the templates, which would be the hourglass templates, which is you're going to be the 5 and the 6. You're going to need the 3, which is going to be for making your 1/4 square triangles. You're going to also need your 3.5 inch block for squaring all those up, and the 2 triangles. So I think that would be a really good package to be able to add if they wanted to get the pattern alone or the pattern with the template set. So I did send that from Valerie, but she's been kind of busy, but I did send it to her I forwarded that to her, so I'll find out in a little bit. All right, so once you have your corners on your seams and you've marked it with your marking tool, now you're just going to go ahead and do just like you did before. You're just going to go ahead and trim it up all the way around. Pick it up and then just set it aside. And I also stagger or stack them as I go. They're just easier to grab when I go to the next one. Grab the next two and do the exact same thing. I have them here. Since they just came off, all ironed the exact same way, so I grab the top one and I just flip it over. And I'm pushing and feeling that seam nested right here. Seeing that all of my edges are pretty lined up. Grabbing my template like this and dropping it down where I've got a point on a seam here and a point on the seam here, and just keep adjusting it until I have both of those corners sitting on a seam and my nesting is right here. So I can go ahead and mark it. And I kind of push my marker away from that seam right there. And once I have it marked, I go ahead and trim it up. And you're going to repeat this. You're going to have 38 blocks total, but when you pair them up, you're going to be back down to the 19, because when you split them apart, you'll be back to the 38. And just like before, I just kind of stack them and stagger them as I go. Grab the next two, pull them over, grab the top one, flip it over. Line up my edges, and then feel for that nesting of my seam all the way down. And if you want to just double check, you can just kind of peel it back, seeing that it's doing what you need for it to do. Kind of force in that nesting right there. You need for it to nest. Grabbing my template, having it where it's going to go over it, and dropping my corners down onto a seam. Doesn't matter if I have it more on one side or on the other. You're going to be trimming it off all the way around. You just want to be sure to have your corner on a seam. Go ahead and mark it. And trim it off. And then go ahead and stack them up. Grabbing your next two and doing that again. And you're just going to keep repeating that. A lot of repetition. Lining up your edges, feeling for your seam. You can roll it back and kind of take a look at that. Getting your template, dropping it onto the seams, making sure you're going across it. Draw your lines. And then trim it up.
Lisa, Miss Norma wants to know if your rings are garnets.
No.
Yes,
They're
they
just
are.
pretty stones. Nope. Today I decided to wear a touch of red today with the black and the scarf. So it just kind of all matched today. But thank you. Nope. I'm a costume jewelry girl.
Norma said, darn. Lisa always coordinates her stuff, girls and guys.
I'm going to pull that one aside. Didn't get my seam very good on that one. Grabbing it, flipping it over. Got a little seam that needed to be pressed down. I'm going to pull that one aside too. Oh my goodness, didn't do very good on my seaming. All right, here we go. Lining those seams up. Feeling them nesting. Grabbing your template, dropping it down, lining the corners on the seam, making sure that it's going across this way. Draw your lines. And trim it off. And just keep going till you have them all done. All right, so we're going to get one more done here.
Lisa, we have a question. Peggy wants to know if the seam press is heavy.
No, it's
No.
not heavy.
I don't know.
I do not know how much it weighs. Does they might have that on the website. I'm not sure.
I didn't see it on there, but we can find out. But it's not like it weighs a lot.
I've got to fix all of these. I don't like where my seams have pressed up a little bit. So again, just keep nesting them in there. Grabbing your template, lining up the corners onto a seam. Draw your line. And go ahead and trim it around. All right, so we're going to take these. Once you have all 19 of them done, you'll have 19 done. Then you're just going to do just what we did before. You're going to take them over there to your sewing machine and you're going to sew down each of those sides. And you can just chain piece them through. I'm going to set these aside. And just like I did before, I'm just going to sew one down one side. Have them staggered kind of makes it easier to grab the next one. And then I'll flip them around and stitch down the other side. clip these apart, just clipping our threads between them. Everybody up with me?
We are. We have 33 people.
All right. We're going to do just like we did before. We're going to cut these apart. I'm just setting my ruler on the corner to corner. And then just stacking them up. And a couple more to do. And you're just going to go ahead and do that to all 19 pieces, and then you'll have 38 blocks. And last one here. All right, let's go iron these. We are literally coming to the home stretch because once we have these ironed, then we make our, kind of lay them out, sew them together, get our strip sets sewn, and then we are done. Then we're going to do our applique. So all thing I do is I just press them back. There's no rhyme nor reason on which one to go up or down. I'm just pressing them back. And you can see they're going to have these just beautiful center pieces right here. How pretty is that? Just right what I need for it to be. The only thing that you might want, that you're going to need to do is just go ahead and clip off your dog ears. You're going to have 2 on every one. And you go ahead and test measure them, but they should be right on the money, 5.5 inches. Pretty easy our blouse block, huh? Just really sweet. See my seam flipped up a little bit right there.
Got one being stubborn today.
Yeah, I had a couple.
Well, that happens.
I think that's enough to get everything, because I got some pre-made that I did earlier. All right, so now we're going to get our layout. But before I do that, I just want you to see how perfect these are. We're going to come back over here. I'll go ahead and take one of these. I'm just going to trim off my little dog ears here and here. You'll have 2 on every block. And if I set this right here on my 20, you're going to see that these are perfect 5.5 inches. Perfect 5.5. So you don't even have to do any squaring around. So I'm going to put on the 30 so you can see that. Perfect, 5.5 inches. No squaring up needed. They're right where I need for them to be. So you're going to have your whole stack of 38. And we've got to get all these little dog ears off because they will be in your way. It's just going to add some extra bulk. So go ahead and take the time and trim them all off, because now we're just going to figure out how we want it to be. You're going to have 10 on each side, and you're going to have 9 across the top and bottom. So you just want to kind of get the layout of how you want it to look. If you want it to have a diamond look, or if you want that hourglass look. Guess I didn't trim these up earlier. Well, by taking the time and making sure that your points are right there in those seams, it's where you got these perfect little points right here on the edges, where it's going to be right where you need for it to be. If you wouldn't have done that, then you'll have some off. You'll have some of them that will be off. All right, so these are all trimmed up. All right, so let's go over here. So this one, you do your sides first. So you're going to have 10 on each side. And this one here, I've already got my 10 sewed. So it's just 10, and I decided to keep this one as that hourglass look. And once I have all 10 of them sewed together, I don't know if you can see that, but it matches perfect on the bottom. I mean, absolutely perfect. I don't think there's any way I could get that up there to see, for you to see it. But when I put this right here on the top here, scooch it on down, it's even, perfectly even right there on that bottom. All right, so before you do the next side, now you can actually look at the diagram that's in that book. I'm going to grab that book. On the picture, if you're going to have the purple going in, like I have the purple on the inside here, if you're going to keep that same look going all the way around, then you're also going to have the purple going to be on the inside at the top here. Now, in the picture on the back, I think I have where I have the purple, but I decided to do the diamonds on the top. So I still have the same hourglasses going down the sides. So I'm just turning back and forth till I have the 10. But what I had done different on the top was you got to have 9 across. So I wanted to still have it where it's opposite here, keep it with that theme there, but instead of keeping it where it's flipping back and forth that way, I have it doing the diamond, or the diamond look across it. So it's going to be the same going all the way across. And you have to have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I believe it lines up right where you need for it to. Yeah, because if you have it like that, you're going to have that purple here. So it'll continue with that theme of the hourglass on the side. Now you could go ahead and flip it if you wanted it to be the same going all the way around. You could have where you've got the teal diamonds going across the top, and then you have the purple diamonds going down the sides. So that's another look that you could do. So it's whatever tickles your fancy on this one.
Wow, Lisa, that's awesome. What you can do. That's
It's just a
beautiful.
simple block. It's just doing two different things. I have it where it's the hourglass here, keeping it with that hourglass here, but then I've changed it to where it's a diamond here. But if I didn't want to have the diamonds going down the side, I can just have teals going across and then purples going down. So that's pretty much, that's that right there. So I don't know, which one should we do? Should we do keep the hourglass or should we do diamonds?
I don't know.
I think I'm going to do.
I like the diamonds. I mean, it's got a. I mean, I love the hourglass too. The diamonds have really popped to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the diamond.
Should I do the diamonds all the way around? Because well, you know, I'm going to go ahead and keep my hourglasses on the side since I already got my 2 strip sets started.
Sure, sure.
But I think I'm going to do my diamonds across the top and across the top and bottom. I think that would be good.
Wow, that's just awesome.
Isn't that just pretty?
It's so pretty.
Yeah, that's really, really pretty. All right, so let's go ahead and get this one sewed on. You're going to have 10.
10 for the sides, right?
Yep, 10 for the side.
Okay.
And it'll be 9 across the top once you get your 10 done. So I'm going to get this first one sewed on, and it will fit on perfectly. And if you wanted to take the time and clip it or pin it, you can. I'm going to go ahead and put a clip here on the top. I'm going to put a couple clips in it because it's the final one. Don't want it to stretch or pull on me. There is a little bit of bias here. Nope, just a little bit. I'm going to pin the top and the bottom and the center. I'm just laying it out, smoothing it out. And I'm just going to put one right here. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this one sewed down. coming up on that end. Now this is one of those ones where you're going to have a lot of seams that will be fighting with you. So I found it was easiest to sew where you're pushing the white, so it's going to be going towards that border. Just a lot of activity going on here at these seams right here. So just like we had done before, I'm just flipping it to where it kind of, rolling it back this way. And pushing it towards the white here. Making sure I can try to get that to lay down a little bit right here. Had a seam right there and a seam right here. So that's what I found works best here, because there's so much seam, so much bulk going on right here. All right, so now you're just going to do whatever you want on the next side. So there's my 10 here. So we're going to do the 10 over here. So we're going to just kind of chain piece these. So knowing that I have the teal, let's see, I got it started here, I believe. So I can just add to this one. So if I have this one here, where I have the teal on the top, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one on here, and it will be the 10 for the other side. And we are going to do the diamonds on the top and bottom. Now sometimes as you're sewing these together, sometimes they'll nest up and sometimes they won't. So this is where I'm having to put this one on here. So if I set it right here, this little seam is not nesting. But if I just go ahead and flip it 180, now I've got to where those seams nesting. Sometimes they'll nest, sometimes they won't. So, and they might not nest on both sides. So just remember when you're going to turn it, make sure you turn it a full 180. You want to have that right color that it's lining up to. So these just both happen to be nesting on this edge here. So here's my 10 for the other side. Find a direction that you're going to press it down to. And we're going to be identical to that side. Put this here. We're going to stitch that down right here. And then we're going to sew that together. And since we know it pops up on the teal here, we're going to be doing the same thing on the bottom. All right, do you have any questions on that?
No, ma'am.
So everybody got that?
I think everybody's.
Well, I'm going to get this last row sewn. I'm not going to worry about the top. I think we're going to work on next, we'll be doing the applique. I think we'll put the last 30 minutes will be on the applique process. All right, so I'm going to grab this and get this side sewed on. Now my seams are going up, so I'm having to hold them down. Same thing, we're going to press this towards that border. Just kind of roll it back under there. That's the direction it's going to want to go. I have a couple that might want to flip out a little bit. We're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to give it a press. And we're going to put it back up. Let me get our top border on. I think we got time to do that. Looking good so far, huh? All right, so we're going to grab these in the order of how I'm going to sew them. Doesn't really matter because all the teals are in the middle. So you're just sewing all the teals together. Okay. And we're just going to chain piece these, so I'll just do 2. These might not match up at all. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I'll do 2 at a time. I'll grab the next 2. Grab the next 2. And then I have 1 left over. So I just stack them back up. Now I'm going to sew the 2s to 4s. still have the one that's the oddball out. Grab this one, put this one over here. And I'll just flip this one over since it's long enough. Grab my last tail, last one, and feed it through. And that's how I chain piece my rows. So we're going to be sewing it from here across. So I want my seam allowances kind of rolling this way. So I flip it from the back side and I just kind of guide it to do that direction. Then I'll flip it over and press it down a little bit more. Any questions?
No.
Once I have it flipped over, I kind of roll it down and then I work it down. Right, so now this is going to fit right here. And if you'll notice, look at that. Fits perfect.
Perfect. Wow.
It's always a cool thing when you see it all come
Yeah.
together. Fits perfect all the way across. So you're going to repeat that on the bottom. And let's see, I'm not sure. Let me see if the, so I'm going to have a teal. Nope, this one's going to be flipped over. So it's going to be just like the top piece. It's going to have teal diamonds going all the way across. How cool is that? All right, so I am not going to sew that on right now. Let's walk over to the ironing station. I think we got, well, I think I have time. I could probably sew it on there. What do you think? Oh, I have to do it. I have to do it.
You have to do it.
We have to get it sewed
I'm
on there.
oh.
We won't worry about the bottom one, but we'll go ahead and get the top one on, and then
We'll get the general idea.
we're going to work on the applique because that doesn't take long at all.
You're speedy. You can do this, girl.
So we're going to run out of time. Oh, Lord. Okay. So the first one I work on is I make sure I get this to nest up pretty good, and then I just work all the way across. Make sure I have it correct. It's diamonds, right? Yep, I wanted the top to be. Did I do that or wrong? Well, you know what? That's the way I want it to be. We're going to do it that way. All right.
Don't mess it up now,
I'm
Miss
sitting here
Lisa.
thinking I messed up something. I am not thinking, because it should have been a teal. I thought it was supposed to be a teal here and then purple diamonds.
No, I thought you made your diamonds teal.
Purple, but then I have
Oh.
a purple top. I have a purple diamond on the top. Well, I'll have a purple diamond on the top and on the bottom before I have the teals. You'll see. I think I did something different, but it's going to be all right. So the first one I just nest up and then I just let it sail across. I'm looking to catch this seam here and this 1/4 inch seam right here. There we go. Use your table if you have it to hold the weight of it so it doesn't pull on you. And we are coming to here.
Lisa, Linda Lombardo said it was right.
What?
Linda said it was right.
What
you're doing. She said it was right.
Okay.
So, don't
I'm sitting there questioning myself all along the way.
Don't outthink yourself.
We'll see in a minute. You'll see.
No, you don't think?
I
I don't remember now. It's so pretty.
don't know.
I don't think it's going to matter.
I'm sitting here questioning myself, thinking whoops.
No, you wanted a teal.
No, I
No?
think this should have been teal, and then it would have been purple diamonds going across the top. So, okay,
Well.
it is what it is right now. You'll see.
No, it was supposed to be teal. We'll say, now we're going to say it's teal.
But then I've got this oddball purple diamond in the corner. You'll see.
Oh, honey.
Oh, Lord.
What are you talking about? Oh,
You'll see.
Oh, get the seam ripper out. Just
Well.
rip it. Oh, it's still pretty.
I mean, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Now, you know,
Just got an
the average
eyeball diamond
person
right
might
there.
not know, right?
I should have had this teal, right? Okay, so
No, look at it.
see, this one should have been teal. See it? And then I could have had continuing with that. And then this one would have been purple. Diamonds going across. You see?
Oh.
Oh, no.
Amy said just call it a cornerstone. I think it looks.
All right, we're going to call it a cornerstone.
It's okay.
It is okay.
Nope.
But my OCD would have had this
See, normal.
teal right here.
Judas, hope I didn't box your name up. It says you just made a very unique design. See, you thought outside the box, girl. I love it.
I would have had it like this, and we would have had the purple diamonds
Oh my.
going in it.
Yeah, but
That's what it would have been. Like this.
we'll just start ripping them apart.
Not right now.
No, you got more work to do.
We got more work to do. So let me grab this last one because this is what it was supposed to be. That right there.
Zeke,
purple, purple.
I don't know. I thought it's, I don't know. I think it's okay.
Well, I know you would have liked more purple diamonds.
You know that.
You would have wanted the purple. Not the teal diamonds. Give me the purple diamonds.
Yeah, but you know, I can take some teal.
There you go. But see, that's what it should have been. But okay, but this is what it is. All right, so we're not going to worry about that right now. Now we are going. See, we're rushing me along because I'm looking at the clock and I'm thinking, ooh, ran out of time. I didn't have a chance to really look at it and analyze it. But again, let me just say,
they're liking it.
It can be whatever you want it to be. If you like those cornerstones there, you're going to have, I would be sure to repeat it on the bottom. So you'd have the same type of, it was meant to be that way. So, all right. Now, let's go back to our little applique thing. All right, so these are the pieces. So I'm going to just kind of cut these apart. I'm going to rough cut that one out. I'm going to rough cut this one out. And we're just going to rough cut this one out. And then the last one. Now, if you wanted to cut out some of these little flowers and add them as an element, you could do that too. These little, kind of added another dimension to it. But this is kind of an afterthought because I hated cutting off that much fabric. So this little butterfly right here, I'm literally going to just cut off the main pieces. And I'm just going to go outside of it. Now, if you want to take the time and fold it under and not have raw edges, the one that you saw on the black, it actually does have raw edges, but it's all glued on and stitched down, and then now it's been quilted in. So I'm not fiddling with these little pieces of the back of the wings. So that's one. I just rough cut around them. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to heat set these on, and then I'm going to grab some black thread because I'm just kind of going over the edges right here where it's dark. I'm not worried about the little antenna here because I can come and just kind of stitch over that, just stitch an antenna out. This is what I had done, just kind of roughed it out. Kind of got as close as I could. I kept a little bit of the blue. This one, this one here. Three, and then the last one. Okay. So all of these had the fusible, I used the short fuse or the woven interfacing or SF101 underneath them. Gave them a little bit of stability first. And then I ironed, if you can see the glue there, I ironed the Heat and Bond Light onto, and now I'm just peeling off that paper that's onto there. So now once I set these down and hit it with the iron, they're going to be on there. And then all I do is just, with some black thread, you could hand stitch these if you want to take the time to just kind of hand stitch them down. I literally just stitch them on the sewing machine. I'm just kind of taking my black thread and just kind of going around it. All right, so, and if you look at the one that I had done previously, I kind of kept them all close to the panel and just kind of had them where they were coming on or off the black. So like this big one here. I think I probably like popped it right here. You could even move it up a little bit. That ain't gonna hold it, but let me grab a pin. So you can just kind of put it where you want, just to kind of showcases where you think you might like for it to be. And this little blue one, he could be coming off down here. Get like he's coming into it. Might be coming in here. It's just wherever you want to see them. Either have him leaving, or you could have him coming in. I'll put him down here, maybe have him coming into the quilt. But I wanted to have him where he's got some contrast. Maybe where he's getting ready to flit onto a little flower here. This little guy could be just coming off. Or this one could be flying off or flying in. What do you think? Any comments on my little butterflies ideas?
Not yet.
It was just to add some interest. I put this blue one coming off. This one might be just coming in here. And this little guy might be just down here. Or you could have them all the way on the bottom. I mean, it's just wherever you want to put them. So once I have it set to where I want it to be, then I'm just going to iron them into position, and then I'm just going to do a tight little stitch following along on that black. I'm not worried about the blue. I just follow along on the black, and then I would just kind of draw where I'd want my antenna to be and just stitch over that. You guys want me to do one? I think I got time. All right, so let me pull these off, get this out of the way. I think we're going to do one. Everybody's so quiet.
I know. They all love the butterfly edition.
Like, don't throw your butterflies away. Oh, let's see. I know I like that one there, so I'm going to pull these. I like this little butterfly coming out right here. Got a lot of contrast on him. So I am just going to set my iron on there and just hold it there for a few seconds. Making sure it's all adhered. Grab a pencil. This one had a couple of antennae. So I'm going to stitch all the way around here, and I am going to just kind of trace on some antenna, and I'm going to draw, and I'm going to stitch over that with the black. So I'm just stitching out the antenna where I want the antenna to be. And I'm going to stitch all the way around. And I'm just going to stitch up and back, create my little antenna. And that's how I would do all of them. So I'm going to switch it over to some black. We still got a group with us today?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. All right.
Lisa, could you do an applique stitch on that?
Yep, you could do an applique
Okay,
stitch.
that's what I was thinking. That'd be kind of cool.
Let's see if I do an applique stitch, what's it going to take away from it?
Well, that's a good question too.
I think I'm just going to keep this one as a straight stitch. You can do whatever stitch that you want. I'm just going to do a straight small stitch following the outside of the lines. As it wears, as you wash it, it's going to probably get a little rough. But once you get it stitched down, you got it glued down, and then of course when it's quilted, it's going to be fine. All right, so I am going to just, got my needle in the center, and I'm just going to follow along these edges. I'm just going to take it slow. I don't know if you can see. I'm trying to keep it open so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just following along the darker edge of the wing here. I have my machine set where I have my needle down, foot up when I stop, so I can just kind of pivot around. Just staying within that bold black line of the little fabric there. And just following it along. Can y'all see that? This is where I had started, and I just finished up the first wing. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of rotate as I go up that little area there and come back down, rotate it a little more. Just a simple little straight stitch. Now those of you who you could do free motion, I guess you could just kind of free motion that. I'm just staying in that black line. Now I'm going to rotate it around, coming back up the other side. Just trying to stay right there on that bold black line. Coming up to the edge. And we're going to rotate it around. Now we're going to follow this little outer edge of the wing down here. Coming back to about where I started. So then I'm going to start with my antenna. So I'm going to hit this first antenna first right here. I'm going to sew up to this one, turn around, come back down, and then go do the next one. Just doing a little stitch, just following it up. Just a little single black stitch going up that line that I just drew. Now I'm going to turn it around and follow my stitch back down. Doesn't have to be exact, just pretty close. Now I'm going to follow up to that last bit of that wing there, and then I'm going to follow that antenna also up and repeat that antenna just like I did the first one. And turn around, come back down. Just follow that same antenna. Go in a little bit. Back tack. Cut my threads. Cut it here. Cut it here. If you want, you can kind of flip it over on the back. Make sure you went all the way around. You see that? Went all the way around on the back side here. So that's just showing where it's been stitched down. And here it is on the top. So let's go ahead and put it over here, this spot over here. So there it is, just simple stitching all the way down. Kind of gives that illusion of it coming out. And again, if you just want to see the back side, it's all completely stitched down all the way around. And there's my little antenna. So once you get it quilted, it'll look really nice. Okay, so Miss Cindy, we got this one done.
It's
this
awesome.
One's in the books.
It's awesome. Even your ribbon on the top is beautiful, girl.
With the oddball purple diamond.
That's okay.
Oh Lord, so we'll get this one finished and get this one quilted up, and then we'll get this one posted so you can see it all done. But I hope you enjoyed this class. This was a lot of fun. We did this one at the retreat. You know, if you have any questions at all, you can always reach me. You can email me at learn@martellinotions.com. learn@martellinotions.com. If you have any ideas for any classes that you would like to do, just let me know.
We have a question. Can you show the quilting from the completed one?
Yes, I sure can. Let me grab one of those. Do you want to see the white one or the black one?
I don't.
The black one, all right, I'm going to pull the black one. I'm going to pull it from the back side because Lynn did this one, and she did this one on the long arm, and I believe it's done with the Cubot. But if you could see, she has butterflies and dragonflies on this one. Isn't that just gorgeous?
Wow, that's beautiful.
And some flowers and some swirls. That's absolutely stunning. And that one is what is on the black one. And the black one is the one where she had grabbed the white one before I had my butterflies appliqued on it. I didn't have it done. She took it. So here's where I have that butterfly right here appliqued. And I think this one I actually cut out the antenna and realized that was awful. So I decided to just stitch the antenna on. Wow. It's just so thin. It's just so frail right there. So that's the black one. Here is the one with the white background. And this is, I'm going to flip it over so you can see the stitching on this side. Isn't that pretty? So it looks like it's bubbles and swirls on it too. So that's from the back side. And here it is from the purple. And she actually did purple thread on the top side. How pretty is that? Very pretty. Didn't get the butterflies on. This one, did I do hourglasses all the way around on this one? Let's see, the black one has diamonds on top, hourglasses. See, okay, so here's what it was supposed to be.
Oh, mercy, here we go, girls.
We're back on it. We're back at it.
Oh, no.
Here we are, see? I don't have an oddball diamond right there. You know, I flipped it right, then we got the diamond, we got the diamonds here. So yeah, that's where I screwed up, was right there at that very first one, and we just repeated it all the way across. It can be whatever you want it to be. All right, again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at learn@martellinotions.com. Had a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you're all safe and warm wherever you are. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again real soon. Reach me at learn@martellinotions.com. Bye-bye, everybody.